Can't tell if anyone's actually in this stream right now. Guess everyone's probably over at the Twitch. But I will just go and start. Well, thank you all for attending. So, today we're doing like a digital storytelling workshop using the Bitsy game engine, which is like an 8-bit open source game engine. So I'll do a quick introduction to digital storytelling. It is a practice whereby storytellers use short multimedia presentations to provoke thought on an issue or to inspire social change or activism. It is typically a first-person narrative, and they're often done through workshops like this one today. Important part of digital storytelling is an open ethos. This is usually accomplished through workshops, technology transfers, and accessible technology, as well as open data. Storytelling, of course, in archaeology has a long history. The Kent Flannery parables, like the Golden Marshalltown, are a great example. And narrative storytelling makes archaeology more accessible to the public as well as other scholars. Now, digital storytelling in archaeology, it's a newer thing. It's been going on, but there's a number of projects that are currently working in that. But in recent years, it has been used by some archaeologists as a tool to depict an archaeological site's setting and landscape, as well as a way to interact with non-academic audiences. Some examples of that have been the Cultural Landscapes of the Irish Coast Research Project, which has used it to, again, very much focused on landscapes. The Infinite Armenias project out of UCF that has done a number of I would kind of describe as like short documentary forms of digital storytelling. And the Virtual Rosewood project by Dr. Ed Gonzalez-Tennant, who, excuse me, who's used 3D visualization and video games to recreate the city of Rosewood before the racial pogrom that happened in the 1920s. So, why use Bitsy? So Bitsy is easy to use. And there's a number of free tutorials out there on the internet. It's freely available to anyone with an internet connection, and it works well for short narrative games and storytelling. And it's open source, fits with like the general ethos of digital storytelling, as well as its accessibility being free. I first heard about Bitsy through someone had sent me a bunch of games that were from this Bitsy archaeology jam. So Bitsy jams is something the larger Bitsy community does, where they will announce a topic and people will make whatever games they feel inspired to do based off of that topic. So one time they did archaeology. Here's quite a few examples of what people had created during that. And one game that stood out to me, and was actually sent to me from a friend, was the Amethyst Horologist Radical Archaeologist. And I was struck by it, not just because it's a great name, but because I could really tell that the person who made that has definitely worked in archaeology, and like compliance archaeology specifically. As you can see, they're like having to talk to a construction worker and deal with kind of like, you know, dealing with working with construction workers. And which very much stood out from like the other games that were part of that Bitsy jam, which were very much just everyday people. You get your classic tropes of an archaeology game, cursed gods and whatnot. And oh yeah, so that game very much inspired me to think about like telling like my own stories of like working in compliance archaeology within a video game. So I created this little ditty. A lot of fun, just general like what's it like kind of working like your first day as like a field archaeologist for a CRM firm, running through cow fields, the classic hanging out at the truck bed, drinking beers with your coworkers. Running through cow fields, the so yeah, I'm going to do a quick walkthrough of how Bitsy works so that if anyone wants to create their own little digital storytelling about their time in archaeology. Right. So this is the homepage for Bitsy. To make the game, you just click on the cat. Yeah, it's really simple. There's avatars, which I like that cat down there. Oh, that's actually Sprite. Avatar is the character that you play as. Just draw a quick one out. That character can be animated with 2 frames of animation. Tiles are these things on the outside edge. And you can, let me add that in. I apologize in advance. I have not gone through the Bitsy game engine in a hot minute. But yeah, this can be added in. Sprites can be changed up to anything you want. Those are like interactable characters. I'll try to play through the one that I made. Yeah. I'll just pick the cat. Make them say whatever you want so that when you actually play through it, you can just interact with them. Not going to give it a sound. And then so I'm blanking on how to quick play through the game. So instead, I will run through my game and just kind of talk about digital storytelling. Hopefully this is working and y'all can see it well enough. Yeah. So yeah, Bitsy's pretty basic. Yeah, you can run into characters and then have general conversation, or they'll tell you stuff. Jump through, run into the cow. You can have I had it so I have a reaction to the cow. Those so there's 3 the crew chief, the cow, and this X, which is a shovel test, are all the sprite characters. But something that I found really interesting about like Bitsy is it did feel like this very easy way to create like just stories about working in archaeology or stories just about archaeology and kind of like sharing one's like positionality within the field. And yeah, because that's like this important part, like there's no like storytelling in archaeology of just like finding ways of like sharing your own experiences and kind of like the larger forms of like diversity within the field. Also bring that human element back into archaeology. I'm very curious to see like if people are inspired by like this game, which again is not too difficult to use, even though I kind of forgot how to use it for a second. And something I like about it is it's not really asking much for you aesthetics wise. Being that just an 8-bit thing, it's kind of like you're just going straight to kind of like the narrative of the story. You're not getting too bogged down and like think about how it should look really. Like the characters are fairly simple. Yeah. See what like other people might do with this. That's kind of why I wanted to do this presentation today, is just to kind of introduce people to like this game, because I think it's good for kind of like telling the stories. I did make this game in like the heart of the pandemic, so it is without also not working very much. So it is steeped in melancholy and a bit of the ennui of that job. Okay, that's a good question about the size of the sprites. So for the cows, which you saw were like larger than kind of like the canvas, there is one side of the cow you can interact with, and then one side you cannot. So, yeah. I wish I still had like the original data, because I had like everything for that game, like, and I could show you all the sprites, but I could not for the life of me find that original, like, I guess that code for that. Yeah. So for the cows, like, you'll run into like either the front of the cow, the head of the cow will have the interaction section, or the butt. Or actually, what I think I might remember doing is I think I've made the front and the butt of the cows both interactable, and they just have the same exact thing to say. Same with the truck. The truck was also made with 2 canvases. Yeah, that is very much my experience as a Florida archaeologist. When I like my whole like first year of like archaeology is like, yeah, there's just you hang out in enough cow fields, you start finding those things. No, actually, I never did when doing field work. I don't think so. Yeah. Let me try to share my screen again, and I will go back into the Bitsy game generator. I'm not sure how the music works. I know people have done it in their games. Oh, that's funny. But I am like, clearly you can add it in. But the dialogue for the sprites is easy, although it is, from my understanding, a one-way dialogue. It's just in this dialog box down there. There's a lot of things you can do. It's an open source code, so you can like edit as much, and a lot of how to do in Bitsy on it. One that I did is like the very bare bones. Here's what you can basically do with Bitsy. But you can add anything to the dialog box in it, and if I recall, you usually add quite a few like dialogue options. See, you click there and you go into add, and you can.
So you can create. I was gonna say, so it looks like you can create like a room interaction.
Yeah. So I think that okay. Yes. Thank you for saying that, because that is actually that is jogging my memory. Room interaction. Yeah. So as you saw in my game, I was able to like go into like the next area.
Right.
Or I was able to like when I hit the truck.
Right.
That fast forwarded me to like the parking lot.
You didn't pet the cat. I'm very disappointed.
Oh yeah, I'd have to go back into that. You can pet the cat.
You're fine. You're fine. I was just like, there's a cat.
You can also pick up all the mushrooms and collect them. You end up finding no artifacts, but you do collect all the mushrooms.
Can you create game objectives like with the mushrooms? Like if I pick up all the mushrooms, do I get like, I don't know, do I get a badge, a mushroom collector badge at the end, or is it just interaction for interaction's sake, which is not a bad thing?
I think it's mostly interaction for interaction's sake, and you just kind of like navigate that narrative. I haven't figured out. I mean, obviously that's something you can like add into the game through either like I'm not sure how much. Yeah, so there is this like. Yeah, hold on. The item and variable actions. Which I think can add like a count, so you can like run through the thing that says you've collected this many things.
So you can, okay, so that's kind of cool though,
Yeah.
because then you can be like, you know, collect this many STPs, or, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I need to play around with it some more. Yeah, I
Well, this
play
is,
with it, like I said. Yeah.
well, this also shows that like this is a living game developing system, so like it's continuously being updated and added to and all that kind of good stuff.
It is, yeah. And yeah, let me figure it out. Oh, that's right. Okay. Yeah. How to make all this. Yeah, okay. Thank you for asking questions. I feel like I play better off of that.
Well, you can't see the chat on Twitch, which is unfortunate because people are actually
Yeah.
chatting about it, but I don't know how to feed that in. And mostly they're just talking about like how cool this is actually, and it's a pretty useful tool. And
Yeah,
I was
I think it's
disconnected, so I don't know. I lost all the chat there. Maybe Short Round
Oh
can
my
jump in
God.
and tell me. Dude, the mobile app is like,
I don't
let
know
me-
if I have the mobile app on Twitch.
it's fun if you're just gonna
Um,
watch, but if you try to do anything else on it, it's kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I definitely don't have the mobile app.
The Short
Yeah,
Round
let me
has been
figure out-
monitoring it, so.
Yeah. Yeah, any questions can pop out of there. I'd love to answer them. But yeah, no, I think this is like a really good like just like education tool too. Like if you are like a professor and you're doing like a digital storytelling like stuff and you're incorporating that into your class, like it doesn't just have to be like video, which is like what I've done, like the Infinite Armenia project, which was I was involved in. We did videos of people doing like stuff with like their phones. We had a camera. I was collecting like B-roll for everyone to use. We all ended up with like a lot of very interesting stories and a lot of people using like that B-roll in interesting ways.
This could be a really interesting way to do like a what were they calling them there for a minute? Like a an essay, where like you're creating an essay about a thing, but you're not writing an actual essay. That's one of the things that archaeogaming kind of does. Is like it's you create a presentation about archaeology, but you're not making a PowerPoint. You know, you can use PowerPoint, but the point is to like be outside the box. You know, you're not writing a paper. You're doing a presentation. And this would be perfect because
Yeah.
it's like I like your little game. I like the going through it, and it really does kind of show what digging. The only thing you don't have in
Oh, that's
there
what it is.
is people dying from like heat stroke.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Little.
It's been hot. It's been very hot this week. So how do you? Because I noticed that you had sections that were interactable, and like right now, it looks like you're putting down blocks for the little guy to.
Yeah.
He can't interact with that square anymore, right? That's preventing him from, or it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because as a tile, he just like hits those and he can't go any further. I will pop back into the game and see if I can restart. There we go. I will run around a little bit more. For this tree, yeah, I can walk through that because I think that is like a sprite that I just don't have any. Or,
You should stretch. I love when the people flag the stuff.
I enjoy it too. I've been on too many projects. I think the first time I was on like just a huge crew where we had transects for each individual person. I was given a compass,
Yep.
and then I had to look at was a field in Alabama full of briars. And I was all like, I cannot walk a straight line in there, and I cannot pace and walk in like a circle.
You get a compass and a bearing and a wish of good luck.
They were flagging it out at least like every 5, but it was a pain in the ass. I've always done like collector, like ArcGIS, like field maps and all that.
I mean, I feel sorry for the guy that has to go up ahead, but if you want straight lines, it's pretty much the only way you're going to get that. Or straight-ish lines.
Yeah.
I like how you have everybody telling him to, like, hurry up.
Yeah.
That's funny. These are cute.
So like, talk about this tree. I actually don't know how I can walk through the tree. I forget what I had to do to make that. That is just like multiple tiles.
Okay.
All individually. So like, foot of that tree is one tile. Those branches are one tile. Those branches are one tile. Those branches are one tile. Those branches. Those are all like individual tiles.
Wow.
Pretty much would say the same thing.
That's kind of cool, though, because it shows that you can, like, create a larger object, though, and you're not just restricted to, like, one tile. Doodads.
Yeah. I've seen games on here that are essentially your avatar is like a cursor.
Hmm.
And then the entire image is like a drawn image made out of like that level of like individual unique tiles.
Gotcha.
Every tile is like its own kind of tile. Like this tree here. Branches, individual tile. Whole like base is an individual tile. It's like all the branches up here are a maze of individual tiles. And now I'm stuck. Can't go through the bushes.
The bushes are the thing you
Kinda
have to
remember
go
what this
through.
cow-
Moo.
Yeah, but also it's kind of nice to get impossible to get around anyway.
I got ambushed by cows one time. It's not fun. They didn't do
Is
anything,
that
they're just
awkward?
terrifying.
This is an awkward point to jump in, but I've actually got a question. So with this, you can see how easy it is to create a story narrative, but within Bitsy, can you also set up objectives and quests for the player, so to speak?
That's something that I'm trying to figure out how to do because I need to play more of these like kind of games. It's like there's definitely like objectives in that you could create like a narrative objective.
Something for the player to find, but it doesn't necessarily lock in or anything like that.
It
Not
seems
sure.
like it's kind of a linear thing. Like you have to progress screen to screen. Which, if you play a lot of indie horror games, it's something you're really actually kind of used to. Go pet that cat. Aww.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know why. But yeah, I mean, if you're used to like the indie games, the indie horror games, like you're used to that building narrative, which I could see really easily doing with something like this, you know. Actually, it's got my brain juices going, so I'm actually pretty excited about it. I don't know if I'll ever do anything with it, but I am pretty excited to like get in here and play around with it.
Yeah, it's a fun thing just to like pop in and just like see what you can like quick create.
And I suppose you could create like a checklist. You know, when your character wakes up, there's a checklist, and then it's up to you to move the character through the checklist. But I also play Sims, so I'm used to like games that are interactive just to be interactive, like a open. This is basically an open world.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the only thing really like guiding you through it is what limitations you've kind of designed into it, be they like bushes you can't walk through, so you're kind of like directed in one area, and like the fences that I had like set up.
Yeah.
You decide if someone can walk back into the thing. Like I can't go back to the rest of the day.
Right.
As you can see, it's darker. It's nighttime.
But if you
I
wanted to
can go
create like
in
a
between.
second day, you could have him move off that screen into like day 2.
Yeah, the second day I could easily do it. And I always intended to go back and do that. I think eventually was we were gonna collect enough mushrooms that you have a day off, and you're just gonna probably go have ego death in your hotel room or something. But this just brings you back to the first day, and I guess a terrible kind of
Groundhog Day.
Day scenario. Yeah.
It
Yeah,
is
you're
much
able to walk.
brighter. That's so subtle.
So with each one of these screens, though, can you like copy and paste the screen? So like if you were going to create day 2, you could just reuse the previous day's screens.
Yeah. So yeah, so we can go here. We can hit duplicate room.
Ah, there you go. And then you can
You
place
have
it
that.
where it needs to go.
And if you had it and you're like, you just basically said like, I had a forest area and I want most of all that forest stuff coming back, but you can like then
Gotcha.
redo it.
Gotcha.
You're like, I need a new tile for this one. I need a tree.
But you could hypothetically like recreate the hotel, the parking lot in the hotel every end of every day. But it is one of those games where you can't go backwards. You can only go forwards. It
Not
doesn't.
necessarily.
Oh,
So I
you
had
could have it
so-
set up to go backwards.
Yeah.
Nice.
There you
Oh,
go.
that's neat.
A tree.
Sure.
That's how you do it too.
That's cool, because that was going to be my
Really
next
tasty.
question.
Yeah, because I
Doodle.
had it so like in the game I made, I had it so I could go back from like inside the hotel to back out to the parking lot.
Oh, yeah,
And I
you
can-
did, didn't you?
Yeah.
Can you,
Oh yeah.
can you animate multiple cells? Like, can you have like a 2-cell figure, or can those only be one cells?
You could only have like what's else you can animate to that it like yeah. I like this idea because now I want to try this with can't animate. Oh, you can animate a tile. Okay. Yeah. Oh my god. The wrong one too. Hold on. Okay. Let's do another bush.
I know it's completely unrelated to archaeology, but I was just like, you could make like a boss fight with like, I don't know, like a minotaur, and I'm just saying, like, you could create the boss character. Maybe.
How is that unrelated to archaeology? You could make the boss character your crew chief.
You gotta
After-
defeat your crew chief. You must buy him enough beer. That's why you're collecting the mushrooms, is to give to the crew
That's
chief
what
at the end of the
we
day.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So we can add these
Oh
bushes
wow,
Oh,
in the
that's
wind.
neat.
So maybe it's a windy day.
that is
Maybe you
very
have it- maybe-
cool.
Maybe you have a story of the field. You're like, man, I just really want to tell this story about this crazy windy day I had in the field. And you can animate those kind of little things into it.
The one day that I was glad I had a hard hat in the field was the day it was windy and all the tree. This is a real story. And all the tree branches came down. It got so bad they actually pulled us out of the field because they were like, we can't safely have you walk through the woods. That was a really
Yeah.
windy day.
Man. Now I'm really trying to see if I can like animate a tree branch falling. That sounds.
Death from
I mean, you could do
above.
I yeah. There's.
I mean, they're called
You
Widowmakers
have,
for a
like,
reason.
The you have the 2-frame like limitations, and if people are enjoying me just trying to problem solve that, I will just keep problem solving that because I enjoy problem solving animation.
Because
Um,
I'm streaming everything for the con, I am limited to what I can go look at, but hopefully someone's keeping a track on the Twitch chat.
Oh yeah, yep, I am.
'Cause it keeps
with
knocking me
regard
out.
to- Yeah, if anyone has any questions, the moment I see a question, I'll read it out loud. But with with Bitsy, are you limited to making a top-down game, so to speak, or could you also have it so that, like, I'm thinking of, the last interview I did with Sarah, we were interviewing the creator, or one of the writers or the lead writer, actually, of C14 Dating, where it was, it's a game based on a field school experience at a cave, so I'm thinking now, cave site. How do
I
you
was
make
gonna
a
say,
cave site in this
yeah,
game?
that'd be good.
Yeah.
Well, first off, you
Yeah.
write a sign that says cave site, and you just slap it on the front.
Well, I'm wondering if you would put in the ground and then maybe like, you know,
Yeah,
do
that's a
something over
question.
top and then a side. I don't know how to describe this stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you did something like showing the digging down of stratigraphy, like Dig Dug, can you have your little sprite guy eliminate cells to represent that he's digging down?
Mhm.
Everyone knows what Dig Dug is, right?
Yes.
I'm not
No,
that old,
so
right?
I think I should look at that Bitsy jam that people did for archaeology, because someone had that where you are essentially doing that thing, and I think that is because you use it as an item token. So if I fill up
Oh,
this
so you're
entire
collecting
thing,
it. Okay, I gotcha.
and that's like, and that yeah, so you can, it's also like stuff, and that's like if you have it kind of as like a plain view, like kind of like theatrical, like a theater kind of thing, and yeah, I could do this. So.
That's what's reminding me of. Oh, The Last Door. I don't know if people played The Last Door. It's a horror game, and it's in this. It's an 8-bit horror game. It's really good. Highly recommend it. But yeah, this is the same style as that. Except, can you add colors, or does everything have to be some shade of? No, you had it green, didn't you?
Yeah, I had it green. Sorry. Yeah. Where is paint? Let's see. Colors. Am I?
So you can have it be whatever colors you want. They don't have to all be one shade of blue or multiple shades of green or multiple shades of blue.
I mean, he can. You can't. You only get
Well,
one.
Yeah. So like, I think I just chose green for this, but like I said, like, the avatars and this, like the sprites and then the items, are all like their own color. I think for the most part.
It's very
I'm not sure how to-
Oregon Trail reminiscent.
Yeah.
I think you have to have, like, I don't know if you can't do multiple colors, like your avatar can't have like a different colored hat
Okay.
for the rest of his body. You are limited with that. I don't think there's anything stopping me from making this hotel purple. Other than good taste.
Hey, I like the color
Or purple cat.
Aw, purple cat would be amazing.
Purple cat would have been good.
Could you create something like I was going to make a joke about field dogs, but then I was just thinking, like, could you create something like can you have your avatar that you have control of, and then have like a second avatar a second sprite that follows it around like a field dog?
I'd love.
That's a really good
that
idea.
and
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
I will say this: if you have the talent, this is open source, so you could, and you have the code.
I like the faith that
That's
you
just
have
a
in
little
me.
bit of code stuff. Yeah. Oh, here.
Oh, it
I had to
is.
scroll over more. There it is. Now I understand how to use this dark thing. Boom.
Oh,
that's
you
changed.
pick the background though.
I didn't mean to. Tile color. Bright color. Boom.
Okay, so it does change the whole
Genius.
thing.
Yeah.
I approve of this game. Eye-searing colors. Let's go.
Did that change at all?
Yeah, the mobile Twitch app sucks. Twitch, get on that.
Alright. Okay.
So this is as simple as it looks. This is very robust.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, you can do a lot with this, and like I said, I chose a very simple game. Like a very simple way of doing it, and yeah, I don't think there's anything really stopping you from going crazy. That's the sprite color.
Yeah, so you only get one per tile.
No. Okay. We are answering the questions as I try to figure it out. I guess I keep changing. Aha. No, I know how to do this. Add another palette.
I know that feeling.
Alright.
I know how this works.
Yeah, does anybody else on Twitch or Discord have any questions about Bitsy and any of this? Because this is fascinating.
Yeah.
I like it.
I'm gonna,
So
yeah, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen for a second, and I'm gonna see if I can pull up one of the other games that people have made.
I do
Yeah.
want to tell people watching that if you join the Discord, because apparently I'm going to be advertising that all con. If you join the Discord, there is a channel specifically for using Bitsy for digital storytelling. So there is a ongoing workshop that has been created on the Discord. If you are interested in jumping in and just even creating a game just for giggles.
Yeah,
but
like very
I know
much
there's
the
a
point
lot
of
of
the workshop
people.
is like, hopefully, like people, you know, if they have time this weekend or just generally time in the next like however long they want to spend, like that channel's not going anywhere, and it can just be
Nope.
like this ongoing thing of us just playing around with this game, telling stories about archaeology.
Maybe next year, maybe we'll spend the next year putting a decent game together, and next year we'll launch it.
That would be very cool.
I have all these
and,
brain children.
We do have a question. Is this a browser-only program? Do you have to download anything for this?
That's an excellent question, and I feel like you might be able to. I feel like you can download the game and doing play up. I think it no. I feel like it is just like an HTML thing, and it's mostly like posted to like itch.io. But you can download your own game as an HTML file, so it's wherever you can play like an HTML file.
Okay.
So yeah, it's
You
a
can
browser.
You can also create your own HTML like file for the game, and then upload that.
Yeah, that's code. That's browser code. I know that one.
Yeah.
I used to be able to do this shit, believe it or not. Don't ask me to anymore.
Oh goodness! I think I found my old HTML code for a thing, but is it working? Is it working? Is it working? I will figure it out another time.
Seems like we have folks in the chat that are excited to try this out, which is super exciting to hear.
I think it'd be really cool. I know that we've got a lot of the core group in the Twitch channel right now, but I think it would be really cool if we all either mashed our brains together or just saw what we could create for each other with this, because it's such a simple tool, but it does look like you can do quite a lot with it. Trevor found his
Here's
shovel.
this other here's one of the games
Oh,
that someone
There we
had
go.
made. I understand what that is. Rubber tire.
I know how that feels.
This is some kids like I said, I don't know if
My
it's safe.
goodness.
My understanding of how you do that is our how do I get out of here? Oh no, story of my life.
You'll never. Maybe that's why no one ever plays this one.
Or maybe.
It's
Oh,
just
I
like
thought
how I
it
do
was-
my shovel tests. There's one boulder, and I'm like, terminated on
Exactly.
boulder. I can't. Sorry.
That's
Like,
terrible.
not to that. I think I know how this game works. Okay.
You gotta find the one that you can destroy.
Nope.
Oh, you gotta go up and around. Oh, there's
Go
so
up
many
and around. This
dimensions
is not-
here.
This is not systematically and volumetrically correct shovel.
No, no, no.
But yeah,
You don't dig your
Question
probes
is, like,
this way.
the mechanisms. The
Just,
mechanisms
wherever.
of this is that so it's created like
Oh my god.
items. The dirt are the items, and they're also so like, and then the things that are playing within the game as items. So like the rubber tire and like the.
Please
shoe
tell
leather.
me. Please tell me you can dig up into that per person's house and scare the living crap out of them. Because I am that
No, the
person. And
boulders. I think that's your grandpa who told you to dig stuff.
that sounds like my grandfather. Grandpa, I'm
Yeah.
bored. Go dig some holes. All right.
Someone in chat says you're going to create a sinkhole.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. I think I just heard a knocking at my door, and I think I do need to go. I think this is the end of this. I have
Well,
shoot.
Thank you so much for showing this to us. This is a really great tool. I'm excited to play with it personally, and I'm excited to see if anybody creates anything else. Again, there is a channel for workshopping this, so people please feel free to flood it with questions. And thank you, Travis, for doing this for us. It was fabulous. Thank you.
Thank you.
All
Yeah,
right.
and if anyone has any questions, just post it in that chat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that workshop will be ongoing all weekend and, possibly longer than that. So yeah, thank you very much.
Bye, everybody.
Well, thank you.
Okay.